from the CSA, CMS for the best part of 10 years relating to the unproven, fictitious, fabricated arrears and so on.
Decimating people's lives.
You put a figure of 9.3.
The NAO confirms the Child Maintenance Service is collecting fictitious CSA arrears. Let's have a little listen.
That you're trying to achieve, then I'm afraid Parliament may need to reconsider these.
Can I just pick you up on one of the points you've made there about improving accuracy? One of the I've received, as I suspect a number of us have, quite a few sort of angry emails just as we've been doing this inquiry.
One or
I'm going to read extracts from a couple of them. I'm forwarding you case details. The Child Maintenance Service has been awarded a liability order for a fictitious debt. There are many thousands of cases like this one.
Thousands.
Another email. I've been requesting my personal information from the CSA, CMS for the best part of 10 years relating to the unproven, fictitious, fabricated arrears. And so on.
Decimating people's lives.
You put a figure of 99.35% on the accuracy of the child maintenance.
Now this will be interesting.
Are you satisfied that the large number of people saying that the fictitious debt are mistaken, that actually if the Child Maintenance Service is pursuing a debt, then it's almost certainly accurate?
No, we're not satisfied with that. The reason being, as I understand your correspondents there, are talking about historic debt. The National Audit Office and the Controlling Auditor General has qualified the accounts for what is essentially the CSA, the 1992 and 2002 accounts, ever since it was created. And there remains debt on that account which the Child Maintenance Service continues to pursue. That number has come down considerably because essentially there was a debt write-off policy.
And they're still pursuing it?
From 2018. When we last looked at this, the last set of accounts, and we're currently auditing the new set now, so March 2021, it was 310 million that was outstanding. We put an adverse opinion on that, so that is as strong as an auditor can, with saying we do not believe that that is the correct number. And
probably far less.
We wouldn't necessarily use the word fictitious. However,
we would.
It does mean that people are being pursued for debts that there is not the evidence to substantiate that they owe. That goes back a long way. It's to do with the interim assessments that the Child Support Agency issued for people, where essentially they would say, we think you owe this, come to us with the evidence to prove how much you should owe.
So the onus is on us.
With the evidence, so those interim assessments stayed on the file. And in fact, this committee at the time documented that very well.
Right, so if they're old debts, they could well be fictitious, but in terms of recent assessments, you're pretty confident that they are...
Yes, so in terms of recent assessments, we are pretty confident that there is a less than 1% error rate. The reason for that is because the new system is designed essentially to rely much more heavily on existing records, and in particular people's tax record.
If that's true, that they are using tax records, the HMRC, which they have access to, then why are they requesting people to come and prove that they don't owe a certain amount? This doesn't seem to add up. Let's continue listening.
So the rules essentially say, if that's what the tax statement says, this is the information you can use. That makes it much harder to get it wrong. I think in some of the correspondence I've read, and we had a lot of correspondence, in fact, my latest was just this morning I was reading on this. I think people have an expectation that should I call it fidelity to their circumstances? So a lot of
fidelity to their circumstances. Probably people expect to be treated fairly, and that the information that is used to establish how much people earn and how much they owe needs to be generally treated with the highest level of respect, and that people aren't just simply charged willy-nilly out of fictitious numbers. I mean, that's just reasonable, isn't it, really, considering people's lives and the pressures that people are under. Anyway, let's continue.
Receiving parents will say, such and such, like my ex has a house and they've had a car and I know they've got all of this, so why are you giving them that assessment? And the CMS will say, well, actually, we've assessed this correctly because this is the information we've got that relies on the tax record. And of course, they are confusing capital there and income. It's people's income that is assessed on, not whether or not they have a house or a car. There is the opportunity for the either of the parent, let's face it, will be the receiving parent, to ask for additional income to be taken into account. So earnings income is coming through the RTI feed. As you know, this is the same feed that feeds the universal credit system, coming through payroll. That's very, very easy for CMS to get right. Where people have more complicated arrangements, perhaps they're paid, perhaps they're self-employed, perhaps they're paid through dividends and so on. That's where it gets more complicated. That's where you'll see error, and it having to be referred to their financial investigation unit.
So they're saying that the only reason why there is any error in relation to arrears and money owed to the CSA is to do with many fathers being self-employed. Hold on a minute. Aren't people doing their self-assessments online? Isn't that record, aren't those records completely available to them to see at any time? Do not the child support agency have access to that? I'm not sure about this. Let's listen further.
And yeah, that's why we think that 1%, well, is 0.67% in the last set of accounts, but I'm going to call it 1% because I think it will fluctuate up and down.
What I think that he's got there is a completely optimistic perspective. It fluctuates up and down. Do we really think it's only 1% error in the system? There are literally thousands of people who are being charged and overcharged and taken to court on these fictitious numbers. They have access to the HMRC. They do. They're paid. And they can have access at any time. They should know exactly how much you're earning at any time.
Within that 1%, we don't think that 1% is going to be possible to eliminate because of those sort of complicated cases. But they are, we've actually been quite impressed with the effort they've done to really drive down and target improvements.
I don't even think that he believes what he's saying. He doesn't really come across like he knows this for absolute certain, that actually the error that they're talking about is so slim, 1%. I would like to see the figures and facts in relation to that to really determine whether or not what he's saying is the truth. It doesn't come across to me like he knows exactly what he's talking about. It seems like he's hedging the bets there a little bit. Well, I think that was a very interesting video that highlighted very clearly that there are errors within the system. He was saying that there's only 1% error that goes up and down. Well, I think that must be quite an optimistic perspective, and actually the up is probably much, much higher than he was letting on. Was it a good assessment of the CMS and the investigation into the fictitious errors? What do you think? Would you have liked to have seen more evidence? I think I would have done. Please leave a comment in the comment section below and smash the like button so that these videos get pushed out to more people. I look forward to discussing this further with you. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.